Today, we're joined by Eric Anderson, CEO of SportIQ Basketball, a company that's turning an ordinary basketball into an AI powered training platform. Every shot, every release angle, every make, every miss becomes data that helps athletes improve in real time. But this conversation goes way beyond a smart basketball. We dive into connected sports equipment and how it could become as common as an Apple Watch, why basketball analytics have lagged behind sports like baseball and golf, and how Sport IQ is trying to democratize elite level player development for families instead of just professionals. We also explore where the industry is headed when every piece of equipment becomes a data collection device, whether AI powered balls complement or compete with camera based tracking systems, what this means for recruiting, officiating, and broadcasting, and why Sport IQ believes it's building a platform that extends far beyond basketball. But before we get into that, we want to thank Black Magic Design for sponsoring the show. Recently, every kick, phase, scrum, and try at this year's Tropical Sevens Youth Rugby Tournament was streamed thanks to Black Magic Design. That included 250 plus teams and 750 plus matches across 15 fields and 1.2 million square feet. Over 4 days of frenetic action, streamed live in its entirety at a level not previously seen in the sport. That included their A10 Mini Extreme and Mini Pro switchers and converters for multi-camera streaming and their DaVinci Resolve replay and post-production solutions. Everyone who watches youth sports, from athletes, parents, and grandparents, coaches, college recruiters, has come to expect streaming that looks and sounds professional. Blackmagic Design can deliver just that for your club, event, facility, or school. Their suite of affordable products are the same quality as those used by professional sports teams and in Hollywood, delivering easy-to-learn multicam streaming that opens new revenue streams is the Blackmagic Design way. For more information, visit blackmagicdesign.com. And now let's get over to the interview. Eric Anderson, CEO Sport IQ Basketball. Thank you for joining Buying Sandlot. Tell us more about Sport IQ and what you're doing for smart basketball technology.
Yeah, hi. Great to be here. Really excited to talk about Sport IQ. Sport IQ, or SIQ Basketball, as we were previously called, we're a smart basketball platform built to help basketball players of all ages and skill levels improve their game through analytics, gamification, real-time feedback. Our goal is to be invisible to the end user. At the end of the day, we want to make it a high-quality basketball. You would not detect any change or difference in playability, but it's connected to an app. So whether you wanted to have real-time feedback on every single shot, whether it's release angle, distance, or shot tracking, make, miss, swish, we're able to give you that shot-by-shot analysis or that feedback at the end of a session. So you can think about it. You shoot 100 shots, you make 60 of them, but maybe your shooting percentage dips after 15 feet. We can provide you real-time feedback and training drills actually in the app of how to shoot better. Sport IQ is generally a platform, fundamentally a platform. So we can go beyond basketball. We're working on our future products, but ideally, we are building technology in the connected ball space.
Nice. What's the target customer base? Are we looking more B2B or direct to consumer?
Yeah, we've been historically direct to consumer. The idea is youth sports is massive. There's a lot of top-down technologies that are amazing. You can see it, in the World Cup with a connected soccer ball, but it requires a lot of infrastructure around a stadium to do that. We took the opposite approach. We thought, the biggest market in sports is youth sports. Parents love supporting their kids on new passions, and we wanted to make the technology democratized in terms of pricing. So we kind of built this product from the consumer mindset. We sell on our own website through Spalding, and then we also sell on Amazon, Walmart, etc.
Yeah. Dive more into that. Why did you decide to focus on the hardware part? Why did you decide to focus more on the basketball? Why not the hoop or cameras to provide everything?
Yeah, so it kind of goes to the origin of the company. Our founder, who invented the technology, played basketball for 18 years professionally in Europe. He was also he had a master's of science in computer science. So he was tracking kind of like the connected IoT space, and he had some ideas of what can we do with the technology inside the ball. There were other tracking camera companies, but just by putting putting the technology in the ball, we realized with a lot less additional hardware requirement, we were able to provide almost all of the same, if not more, analytics. And by being inside the ball, we can provide things that cameras just can't do. So a camera can be, at a low end, hundreds of dollars. Our hardware costs less than $10 a unit.
Interesting. I know you guys mentioned before, like bringing Moneyball to the basketball development. Why do you guys find that's important? Why do you find it's important to bring every single person, make sure they have access to advanced analytics, and then if you can talk more about how you guys democratize the tech to make it affordable, I think our listeners would love to hear that.
Yeah, no, I mean, you look at baseball, you look at golf, you look at a lot of sports that already have so many tools and solutions for how you can pitch faster, hit a golf ball straighter. Basketball doesn't really have any of that, especially accessible to the 12-year-old picking up a basketball for the first time, or the parent of the kid who may not know where to even start. So we thought, one, all right, let's make a basketball that's indistinguishable from a normal basketball. Let's make it at a price point that parents can afford and families can afford, because they're spending so much money everywhere else. And if you really took basketball seriously and you got a coach or a trainer, the cost of our initial product is the same cost as 1 or 2 hours of training with an actual coach. But we work with NBA caliber, professional caliber, like legitimate trainers, and we put them in the app. So if it's a drill to work on release speed or spin rate, and that's what you need, and that's what our ball analyzes that you need, we'll give you access to those drills from those coaches, included in the subscription, included in the app.
Could you talk more about? I believe when we've talked offline before, but you have a patent tech, and it separates you from your competitors. Is there anything you could talk about? Dive more into that.
Yeah, no. So we have a pretty large portfolio of IP. We 26 patents to date.
Wow.
Our main patent, it covers all recreational projectiles.
What's a recreational projectile for people who might not be at home? What does that include?
It's I never knew it was a term. Everyone gets a kick out of it. It's everything from a javelin to a bocce ball to a basketball. Wow. Right. So anything that is not military that you can throw in the air. Lawn darts, I think those are illegal, but they would qualify.
Okay.
So we have a fairly broad patent that tracks the development of AI ML algorithms and events to devices via radio frequency, which is like Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. So, we are an AI company. We've been an AI company for 8 or 10 years now. A lot of machine learning, a lot of data annotation. So we've analyzed millions of shots, and we're just trying to get our algorithms, to be 99.9%.
Yeah. Talk about more of the features you guys offer. Obviously, we talked a lot about player development, analytics. Maybe dive into the coaching, the remote training capabilities, the leaderboards, and the gamification. I know you guys are big on them as well. Anywhere you want to take it.
Yeah. So we're really focused. Like, our sweet spot is players training by themselves one-on-one right now. Now, there's various ways we can go for team solutions, coaching solutions. But you open up the app, you spin the ball to connect, and if you wanted to, you could just start shooting. It would be just like wearing an Apple Watch and going on a run. It's just in the background, constantly running. Then you'd have your analysis at the end of your session, and we would say, hey, you shot 64 for 100. This was your average spin rate. This was your average release speed. This is your average distance. And we'd break down all the shots and charts about like where you shot from and how you were shooting. Was it a relaxed session? Was it an intense session? So that's all generally like very basic stuff. The ball feels the net, and we can tell make miss. We can also decipher between passes and shots, which is actually our core technology. So it's very rare to throw a pass and have that register as a shot. In fact, I've never seen it happen. But within the app, there's many things you can actually do. So we have a whole catalog of coaching videos. And so every week, I think we release 3 new videos. So if you wanted to work on improving your distance or improving your shot arc or entry angle, we have shots and drills that do that. So you can actually have coaching in the app. And then we have the AI coach that at the end of your session suggests new workouts you should do next time. We always have some sort of a competition going on in the app with a prize. Spalding, we'll give, I think like once a quarter, we give away like a basketball hoop, like an in-ground basketball hoop to the user base, whoever wins the competition.
I imagine a ball comes with it too, right? Like the Sports IQ ball has to come with it.
I mean, if you're in the app already, you already have the ball.
That is true. Yeah,
But
yeah. I
we
guess you did. You
definitely
thought
take
about
care of
that.
our user base too. Like if you're an active subscriber and you lose your ball, we're not going to charge you to buy a new ball. Like we give you a massive discount code to replace it. Like we take care of our user base. If someone they leave it out in the rain, our customer service does a great job of making sure kids and basketball players are absolutely taken care of. But yeah, we have an active leaderboard. We have real time feedback on your shots. So it's a blast. We have head to head competitions. We have people shooting thousands of shots every week.
Now, what's the strategy behind scaling? Obviously, the partnership with Spalding. That gets you the distribution layer right there. But are you looking at other partnerships? Are you focusing on other leagues? Are you focusing on AAU, maybe other national or international NGBs? What does your strategy look like? Anything you can share with us there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we had to prove out something that's not really been done before. There have been other smart ball companies, and for various reasons, they're not here today. We had to be really lean and really scrappy to make this work. And partnering with Spalding was a huge one. I mean, I think every single person in the world has probably touched a Spalding ball at one point or another. And so if you look at like that brand recognition, like that is as big as an NBA superstar in terms of just credibility and let's call it nostalgia, right? And so like that's been huge for us. We've been selling direct to consumer. We are a small, lean startup. We are not Spalding. We are SportIQ. We're the technology partner to them. We license the Spalding brand, and we are responsible for distribution and sales. They obviously help, but we're in charge of doing all of it in house, which is the way we wanted it. We will be expanding to retail next year, so you'll be able to find us on shelves, which has taken a little bit of hardware design tweaking, because like right now the balls, we receive them to our warehouse in Portland, Oregon. There's some things we've had to do so that we can ship them directly to a major retailer and just have them sit on a shelf, which it's been a great move for us. So we're starting to talk about where we will be placed next year. We are expanding internationally as well, so discussing what Australia looks like versus China versus Europe. And then beyond that, what are the next sports? I mean, our hardware is designed to go into a basketball. We can take that same hardware and put it into a football or a soccer ball or a volleyball. And many of the things that we're doing with the basketball product currently today is consumer focused. But we're doing things in the officiating space, and we're doing things in the optical tracking space as well. So if you think about where we are today, we're consumer basketball, but we're actively developing behind the scenes on 12 business models, improving our consumer basketball with retail, and international, but also looking at like, okay, what does it look like for an officiating solution or an arena solution or a broadcast solution or a optical tracking solution. And so like our TAM expansion, our addressable market expansion is pretty significant at the moment because we've proven out the first business model.
Do you have a number that you can share? Your TAM?
A number for what? TAM?
Yeah, like yeah.
So basketball, there's 30 million basketball players in America. There's about 20 million basketball players in Europe. And there's over 300 million in China. And there's just an absolute dearth of coaching, like basketball knowledge. It's a relatively new but incredibly popular sport. So training in Asia is massive. And so if you just look at those markets, it's 10x where we are currently in just the US, and that's not even including the rest of the world. So there's a pretty big leap in just the opportunity for consumer basketball. But if you look at soccer, that over half a billion people play soccer on a weekly basis worldwide. And so we can do some really cool things with that. Volleyball is super popular. The consumer application may or may not be as one to one as like smart basketball or smart soccer might be. But for optical tracking, we can help cameras follow the ball easier, especially at like lower levels of volleyball, whether high school or college. So there's just a lot we can do with what we've built as a platform currently.
Any interest in football, tackle, or flag?
Oh yeah, I mean we're actively developing smart football at the moment.
Nice.
I think it's tracking spiral tightness, throw power, throw speed, consistency, catch drop. I think there's a lot we can do in that, and we're really excited about what that product's looking like.
I want to talk to you about like what happens when right now we're seeing it so much in video, like AI tracking, AI highlights. If you're not a streamer right now and you're not offering those, you're behind the eight ball. They're becoming commoditized right now. What happens when every piece of sports equipment becomes a data collection device? Like consolidation will naturally be coming down the pike. Um, how do you stand out until then? What do you think about that kind of consolidation in the future and stuff?
Yeah, I think it's really exciting personally. I genuinely believe we are not competitive with the camera solutions, the optical solutions, the ball tracking analytics tools. We are totally complementary. There's a lot of things you can do with camera that we would never even think to promise to do. And I think there's a lot of things by being inside the ball that cameras just can't do easily. So you can kind of think about us as, especially in relation to camera tracking, we might be like the last mile of data collection. So was the ball actually tipped on the way out of bounds? You've seen 1,000 replays in big moments where you just don't know if the ball was touched. We can tell you if the ball was touched at less than 1 Newton of force at 200 frames a second. So we could tell you the frame it was touched, and we could tell you was it touched. And just that alone is massive. Whether it's a ball being tipped out of bounds or whether it's a shot clock violation, or eventually maybe it's like a VAR solution for soccer. We can do the same thing. If a ball is flying through the air on a plane, we can tell you if it's being touched. So there's a lot we can do. But I would also challenge you and the listeners here to consider the TAM of like what the computer vision and analytics market is compared to the youth sports market. And if you put those two together, it's actually even bigger, right? Because it's a different buyer, it's a different consumer. So it's complementary for both.
I appreciate you breaking that down. I can't believe we got this far into it without asking. What's the price point on the ball? What's the subscription cost? Do you have multiple tiers? Anything you can offer?
Yeah, so we actually had a lot of interesting learnings about this. We used to sell back when we were just like SIQ branded. We used to sell a $99 basketball, and which was at the time a little expensive for a basketball, and maybe by $20. And consumers would get really upset that they would have to go buy a subscription on top of that. And so what we did is we took that as a learning opportunity and an educating opportunity for consumers, where we bundled the ball plus 1 year subscription together. So if inflation has happened, everything has got more expensive. Currently, like we MSRP a ball for $125, and we do a $125 annual subscription. So about $10 a month if you break it down for a full year. But we bundle discount the initial purchase, and throughout the year prices change. But our usual standard bundle price is about $159 for the ball plus the first year subscription.
How do you look at the recruiting layer? Do you think about one day, plugging into a third party platform? Do you want to build your own tech? How do you guys think about that, or do you not?
Yeah, no, I mean, we definitely think about it. We kind of address these opportunities in a pretty logical, is it the biggest, next largest opportunity, or is it a very easy opportunity for us to address now? If it's a very easy opportunity, but not the largest, we'll still consider it and we'll still do it. And I think that's a big thing about the new Spalding TF1000 launch. It's actually a smart game ball that is official size and weight. That is actually the official ball of 19 states. So now it's the first time that we're actually using a ball that real people play with. We never had a game approved ball previously. So now that coaches associations are getting more interested, leagues are getting more interested. I mean, multiple leagues around the world use the Spalding TF1000 basketball, and so now that people can actually train with the exact same ball that they're going to play with, that recruiting layer gets really interesting. And we have we've analyzed the data sets, we've analyzed millions of shots. We are absolutely thinking about how we can take this to the next level in terms of recruiting. Um, and when we find the right partner, someone who really wants to push on it, we can open up our API, we can build a product, but we're just not at a critical mass to really like break through the recruiting layer yet.
You brought the ball in, I'm guessing same weight, same dimensions, the hardware. Like, what's the hardware look like? Like, how big is it? If you can give people kind of what's the hardware look like?
Yeah, so our hardware weighs less than 5 grams. It's really small. It's smaller than like a chapstick tube. Uh, and we essentially take this and we've designed the basketball to have no discernible difference. So this is the Smart TF1000 basketball we just launched last month, and it's like I mentioned earlier, the first smart game ball, so players can practice with the ball they're going to use in games. And with just having this lightweight hardware, it's the same material, it's the same weight, it's the same size, and we've just received incredible feedback. I think one of the interesting things as you're building a company is like we've always known this was coming. We've always known that we're going to do smart game balls. We've always known that we're going to do smart footballs, soccer balls, volleyballs, and it's not the consumer's job to have a vision for what we can be. And the feedback that we've received once we launched this ball was we had no idea this was so good, and the technology was so seamless and undetectable, and actually now the analytics really are incredibly valuable because it's the ball we actually use. And so it was like eye opening for us to see that level of interest in the product going forward. And yeah, ultimately, like I think consumers are just becoming aware of what's possible. And honestly, this is a big investor base of listeners and people in like the business of sports and youth sports. And I think now people are starting to see what's possible and think about what's possible. The inbound has just been received really well.
So what do those conversations look like? Whether you're talking to a customer, whether you're talking to a parent, maybe a kid, maybe a coach, like what are something they're like double tapping on that you're seeing that you're talking about a lot? Like is it just like, oh my God, this analytics piece is insane. I love the coaching tools. What are the conversations you think mostly based around?
Yeah, I mean, I think just like when I got an Apple Watch for the first time, I was like, if I do a workout and I'm not tracking it, did I even do a workout? You wanna challenge yourself. You want to go on a run. You want to run faster. And I think people, especially kids, once they build the habit of every session is tracked, they lock in just a little bit harder. They want to improve what they did last time. And they want to see like what's the rest of the world doing. It's like, am I in the top 1%? Am I in the top 10% of people getting shots up? And so I think just having that, and then helping parents, just give them like a guiding hand of let's focus on this drill, or let's make sure we hit our 250 makes this week. It's just an outlet for kids and parents to just have access to a new way of doing things. I would have loved this product as a kid. I probably shot thousands of shots every week in my backyard, but I also didn't have a million video games or a smartphone to compete with my time. And so now it's kind of interesting where it's like I would have loved this, but we still have to compete against all the other, I don't want to call them distractions, but all the other interests and hobbies that kids have today.
Yeah, no, I definitely understand that. But I mean, like as you're deep in it and everything. Screen free activities are becoming a big thing and something we are pretty bullish on to see kind of continuing to go on an upward trend and everything. What's the smart basketball industry, smart ball industry? What do you think it looks like in 5, maybe even 10 years? I know you guys want to bring these advanced analytics to everybody who's playing basketball and everything. And then what do you want Sport IQ to be like in that time frame? And how do you want to keep innovating smart ball tech? Obviously, you talked about advancing to other sports and everything, but anything you can offer.
Yeah, no, I think if you look at just the rise of IoT in any industry, whether it's like e-bikes or video doorbells or just like a connected thermometer for barbecuing, right? Like there's been significant adoption. We're seeing anywhere from 5 to 20% of devices become IoT, and we're just at the very earliest stages. We're a very lean startup. And so one of the interesting things for us is we can only sell as many balls as we produce, but we don't want to sit on all this inventory if we don't know we're going to be able to sell it. So I think especially as we start getting into retail, we'll see us be able to control our inventory a lot better, which means we can expand a lot faster. And I think like that's really exciting. If we can become a seamlessly integrated tool that people love to use, I really think 1 to 5% market penetration in basketball is not crazy. Obviously, we're a premium product right now. We do have some lower cost ideas for much down the pipeline of, we want to start premium and we can continue to democratize. But the opportunity's there. I mean, our founder said, like the first meeting I ever had with him, why can't every ball be a smart ball?
Mm-hmm. Now I know you're from an investor VC background and stuff. So I mean, you guys just got done with raising 6.2 million in Series A back in February. So congratulations on that. We have a lot of investors in this audience and stuff. Any raises down the line coming up? Any future plans you can talk about?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the 6.2 million, it gave us some breathing room. We obviously have to manage inventory. Financing of the inventory is also always a challenge because investors or lenders might not feel comfortable about reselling a smart basketball if they had to, right? So like all of that's obviously still things we deal with. Raising the money just means we have to spend it smarter and use it wisely, right? It's not like we're set. So we're obviously always talking to investors, and we're obviously always fundraising. But in theory, we're in an amazing position. Something that 2 or 3 years ago I couldn't even imagine. And so we're still actively always fundraising. We're actively always having conversations. And I mentioned our expansion. Like we figured out smart basketball. We still have 3 other sports to do and 5 other business models to really chase down. So there's plenty of room for expansion and partnerships and investment.
Nice. A lot of recreational projectiles out there. So
There's some crazy opportunities. I mean, we've talked about bar games. Cornhole is a $1 billion sport, which is wild to think about. There's like people who are influencers that make full-time livings from cornhole, which is, it's competitive, it's fun, like we've all played it, but we could make that bag smart.
yeah. Hmm.
Like we can make anything smart. Right now our focus is inflatables. Bags would be, kind of like a adjacent thing, but we could definitely do it. But anything that is thrown in the air, we can make it connected to a device, and we can help you do it better.
I love that. A lot of opportunity out there, and we'll continue to watch. And good luck with everything, Eric. We really appreciate you coming on. Good luck to Sport IQ, and we'll be watching. You got any breaking news you feel like you want to talk about? Come right back to us, and we'll talk about it. All right.
Incredible. And I would just say, I know we're wrapping up, but the really interesting thing about our business model is if you think about selling a ball at retail, the margin on that ball might be $15 depending on the ball. If you're selling a $30 ball, that would be a much smaller ball. Um, what we do with our subscription is, $125 a year. How many, and that's over 90% margin because it's software. You get one renewal. What we can do for businesses in terms of enterprise value, one renewal of the software is the equivalent of 8, 9, 10 ball sales the following year. And so what we really do in terms of business model innovation for the industry is quite remarkable. And as long as we keep adding value, we're going to keep having subscribers. As long as people still see that there's a point in having the app, we're going to keep the lifetime value of those users for a lot longer than the purchase of one ball.
And then democratize if Texas Tech is better and everything. You hope to, lessen the price. Obviously you guys have great data. You're finding the data and everything. So, I mean, bringing that value to people. So good luck with everything, man. And we'll talk to you down the line.
All right. Thank you so much.